All right, on today's episode of Python Papi, we're back inside our TensorFlow course, and we're still doing our malaria precision recall and accuracy module. Let's have a look at what we went over today. Now, yesterday we left off talking about our ROC plots, and today we're going to pick up where we left off. So with this ROC plot, what we actually have here is the different true positive rates and false positive rates we'd have at a given threshold. So this means that a point picked on our ROC plot is just a given threshold. Now let's say that the threshold is 0.5, and that's our point picked. We could also pick another threshold. Let's say that point is 0.2, and then we'll have one last point picked of 0.1. So that would look like this. This is our ROC plot. These are our thresholds. You see here 0.5, 0.2, 0.1. This is our true positive rates, and these are our false positive rates. Now we can have another model with a different ROC plot, one with this kind of ROC plot. But note that overall our aim is to ensure that the false positive rate is minimized and the true positive rate is maximized. So we want this number to be as high as it can, and we want this number to be as low as it can. So we have something like this. You can see here we still have our original line here with our original thresholds, and then we have this new plot line here. So with our new ROC plot, which we have drawn, then we'd be able to pick out the threshold of 0.x, for example, x being unknown. That will give us something like this here. You can see here we're drawing a line from our new plot line, and this is our threshold here, 0.x, the unknown threshold. We'll be able to pick this threshold because of this threshold at this point. The true positive rate is at its highest value, and that is 1. So we started from here because this is the highest of our TP rates is 1. This would be 0 down here, but we have it here at 1. So we start from here, and we're going to try to plot it down to the 0.x. And then the false positive rate is at the lowest possible value, that is 0. So that's going to be down here, 0. So we have a 1 and then a 0. You can see that here we have a label here. This is the 1 for the TP rates and the 0 for the FP rates. Now this value of x could be 5, 4, or whatever in between these plots here, the 1 and the 0. So we have a 0 point, whatever the value is, will lead us to 1. Now nonetheless, many times we wouldn't have these kinds of plots. So what we would do is we'll look at it like this. So we won't always have this plot here. We won't always have it like this, with this line in the middle here, or this line here in the middle. We'll have something simple and basic like this here with just our plot line and then our threshold lines here. Now with a plot like this, the aim is to ask ourselves the right question, and we want to make sure that our recall is always maximized, which in this case it is for us, but we try to ensure that we pick out the points at the top. We always want to pick the points out the top closest to the true positive rates, but we can't go too far high because let's say if we pick a point along the curve here, not along the curve, but along the plot line here, you can see here this will give us a high false positive rate. So if this was our point here, we would trace it all the way. I'm not going to do that. You can see if we trace it all the way down, it would give us a high false positive rate, as opposed to picking something near the curve here. You can see if we trace it all the way down, it would give us something like a very low false positive rate. So if we want to maximize our recall value, it is normal that we will pick our threshold values, which would take us around the region near the top, because just around the region that our recall is maximized. Like I just said, naturally we would try to go directly to the top here and try to pick one of these locations. We have to keep in mind the higher we go on the TP rate, the higher we go on the FP rate. So we don't want to go too high. You can see that here, it would give us a high false positive rate. And that is the question. But the problem with picking a point around this region is that when we pick a point around this region, it's in a region where the false positive is very high, like I just showed you. So we need to find a balance between this FP rate and TP rate. So it would be much more logical to pick a point near the curve of our plot line, so we could pick around that region instead. Like I said, we're going to pick around this region instead of trying to go all the way to the top of the TP rate, which is here. We would try to land around somewhere here. So we pick a point around this location, we trace it all the way back down. You can see we have a very low false positive rate, which we want, but we still maintain a high true positive rate. Now, we did take a lot more notes and we did dive a lot deeper, but I'm not going to do all of that reading this morning. But of course, we will pick it up tomorrow, and I will keep you guys posted every step of the way. But for now, it's Python Papi. You guys stay Gucci.